Well, happy Sunday, everyone. Welcome to the Sunday morning program with Scotty and Raini. It's Sunday, and sadly, Raini is not with us today. It's been kind of a misnomer to call us the Scotty and Raini It's Sunday show the last several weeks because she's been off and running and doing her massage therapy work because in the hotels where people spend the weekends, they always schedule stuff for Sunday mornings. And so she's off and doing that. And this weekend, she's been off at Scout Camp with our oldest daughter, Rowan, who's 9. And they've been doing their Scout camping this weekend. So they won't be back until this afternoon. And so I don't envy her, the Scout camping. You know, I like camping as well as the next guy. I'm not a big fan of organized group camping. It's always, everything's rah, rah. Let's get up in the morning. Let's sing our morning song. And the crocodile said, good morning. And you know, whatever it is. I'm not talking romper room stuff because they do get a little older, in there up to 6th grade. But, that's never been my thing. You know, let's run around and capture the flag before breakfast. You know, I don't speak English before coffee. So, doing that has been, not my favorite thing to do, although I love camping. I love hiking. I love survival stuff. I love getting out in the woods and doing stuff. So, but that's what Rainey's up to this morning. I've been up since about 5 o'clock this morning, cleaning the house. And I always like the house to look better than it did when Rainey left. If she left and something was missing, I want her to walk in this afternoon after a long camping weekend with a bunch of screaming children to walk into the house and have it be, a refuge. And so, you know, as most of you know, I was gone most of last week. I was working away from home, just a few hours north of here. A good friend of Rainey's and mine and a good client of mine. He actually started as a client and became a good friend right around the same time Rainey and I met. And so I've known him for about the same number of years. And so I went up and did some work for him on his, as you can see, this logo over here to the, what side of your screen is that going to be on? The left? That is, or is it the right? That's the Hell's Head Coffee logo. So I've been working on that with him and trying to get that all beefed up. And I took a break from doing radio this last week because it was just too much busy making, being somewhere else, working for somebody else, and being out of my place. And I can do radio from the road. Don't get me wrong. And I have. But this week, remember last weekend, I was still coming off the tail of being sick for a few days. And by the time I got up there, I was just coming out of all that, and I was just worn out. And I said that I'm not going to do it. So I took a few days off. And I appreciate all the emails, all the calls, all the messages from all of you wishing me well and hoping I'm doing okay and so on. So thank you very much for that. Elderberry says it's a GSC morning. I have no idea what that is, but for me, it's a coffee morning. So what I have been doing, let me turn down the volume on my phone so we don't have to hear the dinging every 10 seconds of messages coming in. So what I have been doing all morning is just cleaning the living room, cleaning the kitchen. You know, Rainey's got a busy life here with these 3 kids, especially when I am gone. There's no one to help. And the kids, we're still getting them into the mode of, and maybe some of you who are parents or who have been parents in the past, maybe you can lend a hand here. Give me your advice. How do you get your kids motivated to do their work, their chores that you want them to do? And now let me say something too. It's not that we don't know how to get our kids working and doing what they're supposed to do. It's how do you do that without hanging a sword over their head? Now, I want you to clean this living room, and if you don't get it done, I'm going to break your arms. I am going to take away your bike. I'm going to burn your card collection. whatever it might be. And I mean, it gets to those points because it's almost as if you don't use the negative reinforcement. They don't do it. They don't take you seriously. Mom asked me to clean my room. So I remember when I was gone last week, 2 weeks ago, I should say, I told my son, I said, hey, go help your mom. Go sweep the kitchen floor. Did he do it? No. Later the day I was talking to Raini. I said, did Flynn sweep that kitchen floor? And she said, nope. And she said, I can't get him to do it. And I'm like, so I said, Flynn, and he walks into the camera. I said, Flynn, right now, before you do anything else, go sweep that kitchen floor for your mom. Help your mom. And I didn't throw any threats in there. I just said very sternly, help your mother. She's cooking you meals. She's taking care of you. She's running you places. Go help your mom out. I got home the next day. Guess who didn't sweep the floor? Same kid. You're right. So, how do you guys deal with that? And good morning, Susie Q. Nice to see you here. I see all your cups of coffee lined up in a row. Hey, Matt Finn, Master Finn. Good to see you here this morning. And Field Guy. Nice to see you. And I toast all of you, by the way, with my cup of coffee. Hey, Scott Lowry, good to have you here. Romeldian, nice to see you. Elderberry as well. And Teresa, good to see you. Happy Sunday morning. And Steph Cuervo Queen, nice to see you here. I'm glad you're here. And who else is in here? We got all kinds of people in here this morning. We got Steele, good to see you. That's Raymond, I believe. Did I just brain fart on your name? Steele, I know who you are. My brain's not working this morning. Sorry about that. I get that more often too. Little pops of things I know so well suddenly missing. And it's like, is that the beginning of senility? Am I at the tender age of 60 already starting to experience a little bit of lack of memory? Is it lack of mental exercise? Is it lack of exercise in general? Is it diet related? Is it my brain is starting to deteriorate at age 60? What is it? So, Steele, welcome this morning. And if I got your name wrong, I shouldn't, because I've talked to you for a couple of hours, at least in the last few weeks. And for some reason, my brain, it's gone from my brain, and I don't know why. So welcome this morning. And who else is in here this morning? Who else we got? Anybody I'm missing? It's only True Divine. Nice to see you. My yeoman. Nice to have you in here. And I was just talking to your daughter on Instagram and saying hi to her. I didn't know that was your daughter at first. So it was nice to talk to her. That was fun. Scotty the Bad Boy Lowry might be the new nickname. And it says Matt Finn has dubbed you, Scott Lowry. Scotty the Bad Boy Lowry. Let's see if my brain will hang on to that little tidbit for more than a day. And who else we got hanging in here? Anyway, everybody welcome. If I see you come in, I'll say hey. It's nice to do that live because then you know I'm live and you know I'm acknowledging you, and I appreciate the fact that you're here. Odyssey Radio, that's Russ, the owner of Odyssey Radio. And say hey to Russ over at Odyssey Radio. Hey, kids, he says. So good to see you, Russ. Nice to have you in here this morning. Let's see. You and I have to talk, and I know about something. I don't know about what. My brain's farting out on me lately. So forgive me, Russ, but let's get a hold of each other and figure out what it is we're supposed to be talking about. Nice to be seen, says Russ over at Odyssey Radio. So this morning, folks, as you all know, Sunday mornings is not the official Intrepid radio program, even though we come in under the moniker of Intrepid Radio. And it's just an informal time where we can have coffee, we can talk about junk, and we can talk about whatever we want. Share our coffee, experiences, stuff. I can ask you questions. You can give me answers. Things like that. And my lights are a little off this morning. They're frying my retinas, but at the same time, not illuminating everything that needs illuminating. What's with that hat? Well, that's the wrong hat up there. That's why it looked funny in my screen. There's the right hat for up there. Ah, there we go. All right, this is my other one. It's my other penman hat. Boom. And it's been, I came home and I find things, kids use my desk. There's stuff all over my desk all the time when I'm gone and I come back. And I always tell them, hey, if you're going to be on my desk, it's okay. But clean up after yourself. What do I find? Messes. Stuff all over. Cookie crumbs on the floor. Candy wrappers around. My desk is, you remember in Jurassic Park? The fat dude who was the hacker at the computer hacker? You remember his desk full of pop cans and candy wrappers and potato chips? That's what my desk looks like when I come back home. And so it was no different 2 days ago when I got back. So I haven't stopped sweating this morning. I've been running around all morning doing junk. And so I need to have a fan going. I could turn on my ceiling. Hold on a second. I'm going to go turn on my ceiling fan. So I got a little air circulating in here. Hang on. I'm going to be right over here. You'll still be able to hear me. But let's get that fan going. Boom. Fan is on. It's like Rick's place in Casablanca. It's got ceiling fans going. Not that we don't have air conditioning, but I'm the kind of guy that needs moving air, circulating air. So what's everybody got to say? Matt Finn says, field guy, at least we can laugh at ourselves. See, I'm just cutting into conversations going on over there. We need a good GoFundMe this morning so this man can have a studio with a lock. Ain't that the truth? And guys, now you know from months past, the reason I went down to Louisiana for 3 months, it was supposed to be 4 to 5 months, was to try to earn enough to put together, we wanted to do a shipping container home. And or a steel prefab home, some things like, we were looking at all kinds of things. I was pretty hooked on the shipping container home because they're less expensive and you can do some pretty cool things with them. Rainey was a little more hooked on the steel homes, but we were looking around. Well, Louisiana, as it turned out, didn't turn out the way it was promoted to me to be able to turn out. Now, some might say, well, that was your own fault. Maybe you didn't work hard enough. I worked my ass off in Louisiana, and it was away from home, and I hated it down there. And you know what? It just didn't turn out. 2 big projects that I left there because they kind of closed down what we were doing, and we're going to finish what was on the books. I had 2 huge projects that would have represented probably about $30,000 to $40,000 in my pocket. When did I come home? Right around May 1st. It's now middle of July. What is it? It's the 20th of July. And, by the way, it's Father's Day. Happy Father's Day, dads. Daddy-o. Reminds me, I got to call my dad. But, so I was down there for 3 months and came home. Now it's been since May 1st. Still no movement on those jobs. I don't know if they went somewhere else because one of the older couples that wanted us to do all their work, they find out that, oh, you're not a resident here? Well, no, not anymore. I'm back home. Well, we thought you lived here. So there you go. Hey, Audrey, happy Father's Day. Good to see you. And so that didn't turn out so well. But Rainey and I have been working on getting a loan through the USDA, the rural homes thing up here in our county in Wisconsin. And it looks pretty good. And we get that loan. It's not as much as we'd like to get or as we could really use. But we saw a home in Somerset where our kids go to school, where we had our house before we moved into kind of the 3-year temporary digs here in the townhome. And it's an older house right on the strip down in downtown Somerset. Downtown Somerset is about a block long with a couple of antique shops and a couple of bars and a gas station and a police shop and things like that. It's a country town. And but the community is huge. And so we're looking at an old house there. Possibly. And that old house has gone from like 120,000, which is nothing, down to 94,000. And as of the other day, it went down to 71,000. Now, we went and toured that house, and they've got part of the house had been turned into a condominium. Really nice. The other part of the house is dilapidated. You could live in it. You know, if you like living in a tent and things like that, you could probably handle living in that side of the house. So it needs a lot of work. It doesn't need condemnation, but it needs a lot of work. It needs a new roof, needs new siding, probably needs some foundation work. All the walls need to be stripped down to the bare bones and redone on the interior. So it's a lot of work. We're not afraid of that kind of hard work. And the price is right. And it's right downtown. It's right straight across from the old police station on one of the side roads off the main junction in downtown Somerset. And so that's a possibility. We'll have to see. Hopefully we'll know between Monday and Tuesday what's going on with that. So we've got to move out of this place by the end of August because they're selling them, and we're not going to pay $440,000 for this place, for this glorified apartment. So we'll be moving out. And so because they ended everybody's leases. So there we go. There's the update. There's personal update. So if you want to put out any energy for me and mine and Rainy and I and my kids, put out that energy. We need to get into a good house. We need to get that deal sealed soon. Otherwise, we're going to have to just go rent someplace for exorbitant amounts of money to get this very same townhome. Now, 3 years later, we got into this place for, I think it was at this speaks to the state of the market. 3 years ago, we got into this townhome, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. This is actually technically the main floor bedroom that we've got the studio in. And then there's 2 bedrooms up. There's a bath right next door here and upstairs. And then the living room and the kitchen, big cathedral ceiling in the kitchen with a balcony upstairs to the hallway to the bedrooms. And it's a nice place, but you can tell it's slapped together, current day, slap it together, rent it out, because the market's there. This was built, we're the first occupants here. We were waiting for this to be done so we could move in 3 years ago. And they charged us $1,350. It's now up to $1,450 because, of course, obligatory, you have to raise the rent every year. Just necessary for some reason. Oh, your lease is up. Sign the new one. Oh, and we're going to add another $50 onto your rent. Just because that's the way it's done. So we pay $1,450 for this place. That little house, to speak to the market, that little house over in Somerset, a mortgage payment on that would be about $385 a month at $71,000. If some land developer hasn't already scooped it up in the week since we looked at it, which is what happens. These guys have hundreds of thousands of dollars at their disposal and huge accounts at the banks. They go in and they scoop those things out up from under people who should be able to buy those because they can't afford much bigger. And so that's what happens. There, you see, I've just tucked in my little personal human interest side of things right there. I don't think that should be regimented or regulated. I just think that that's a moral issue. If you've got the money to buy a house, go ahead and buy it. If you don't have the money to buy a house, you can't buy it. But All these guys that come in and scoop up these cheap properties like that, fix them up, and then turn them around and mark $2,100 a month to rent it, whereas the payment on it is under $400 a month, plus whatever they put into fixing or renovating the place. It starts to get a little silly. And we've seen that in a lot of different places where we've looked at things. So all of that to say, we're still looking. We got 2 months, July and August. And unless some big landfall hits us, we are either going to have to rent somewhere else or buy a cheap house. So there you go. And you guys all know how that goes. Matt Finn, my 2,300 square foot, 2-acre modular on a basement is only a few hundred more per month than what you're at. There you go. So yeah, the housing market here, rural Wisconsin, housing market is astronomical. They keep building these rental places. They built more just like this one over in Somerset, 12 miles from here, where our kids go to school. And they're charging $2,200 a month to live in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, glorified apartment. So there it is. There's your housing market. So how's your housing market where you live? How is everybody's? Susie Q and I were talking about housing in her area, rural area, but it's far away from the main city and off the main drag. There's no school district there and so on. So the housing is going to be less. Other people I know are right smack in the city. And the only way you can get anything affordable in the city is if you move into Section 8 housing, or you move it. Well, I don't know if it's called that in every city, every state, but low income housing or practically slumlord owned properties. So very rural, says Susie Q. Yeah. So, Matt Finn said he sold his old house for $30K over what he thought he was going to get for it. That's pretty cool. Now, by the way, if you're just joining the stream, I got to tell you, when I'm scanning the dial for talk radio shows, like when I'm out driving or going around the country, I don't like to stop and listen to financial shows. Oh, well, Gordy, thanks for calling in. And your 401k can make a lot better. Blah, 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 blah. I don't like listening to that kind of crap. I'd rather listen to politics. I'd like to listen to, you don't hear a lot of, unless you're there at the right time of night, hearing things like Coast to Coast or Darkness Radio or shows like that. So you're either listening to politics, religion, or money talk. And I don't like money talk. So if you're just tuning in, this is not a show about money talk or real estate. Just talking about that at the moment, because there's all kinds of other things to talk about. Now, I haven't seen, by the way, I said Raini is gone with our oldest daughter, Rowan, at camp this weekend. So it's just me and my son, Flynn, and my little girl, my 6-year-old Ellery. And I haven't heard anybody stir yet this morning. Like I say, I've been up since 5 this morning. And maybe they're afraid that if they come down, I'm going to put them to work. Which I probably would. I would say, hey, I need you to do that. Flynn, I asked him all day yesterday, and it was mellow. And we had a good time yesterday. But it was a mellow time. And I said, hey, at your leisure, I'd like you to get this done. I said, no big shakes today. It's all day Saturday. We're here all day. We'll go out to lunch. And but let's have you guys pick up. And I said, Flynn, here's your task. I need you to do this. And still this morning, I ended up finishing it for fear that's not going to get done. That's just sweeping up. Our living room gets so full of kid junk. All right, all you parents, how do you deal with this? So much kid junk because we don't have a separate family room or a separate kid room, so to speak. A rumpus room, if you want to call it that. That's the master bedroom. But we got the 2 bedrooms up in the studio, and then the yard, which there's bikes all over. You'd think we had 10 kids, because each kid has a bike or 2. Their old one, which for some reason we haven't gotten rid of when we get them the new bikes. So there's 10 bikes all over the yards. So the other neighbor kids can come over and they got a bike for them. And scooters, the little two-wheeled scooter things. They're all over the yard. And then the wheelbarrow was in the middle of the garden, tipped over. And toys all over. It's like, does anybody pick anything up? Now, I'm not I'm not a neat freak, but I do like things to be in their place. I like not order. I like neatness. I like things to look nice when I pull up to my house. It's like outside the front patio. The 4 days I was gone turned into a dumping station. Everything's sitting out there. Now it's got a roof over it and stuff, and Rainey's got her massage table, which was in the car, the truck, because she goes and does the massages at the hotel. She brings her own equipment, and that's all folded up and on its cart and stuff, but it's outside the front door. No big shakes. Kids haul out the huge tub full of all the Nerf weapons. It's got to be 40 Nerf guns crammed in there, all different sizes and shapes, and ballistics. That's sitting out on the front, but half the guns are not in it. They're scattered all over the front. Okay, not big shakes. There's a big red rocker on the front, wooden rocker that I painted red to go along with the little round steel red table and the steel chairs, the old-fashioned looking ones. And those are all out in the front. But then there's other tubs, half full of water from rain and dirt and gardening tools and stuff. And then there's cans, empty cans, half full cans of root beer or water bottles or whatever, all over the place, behind the chairs, on the floor, of the patio floor. And then there's rocks, all the rock picking. It's all over the place. Then there's little bits of junk here and there. And you walk up and you go, can I please find a path to the door? I don't like that. I like walking out and things are in their place and it's calming. I like going out there in the morning, have a cup of coffee, read my emails, stuff like that. When it's cluttered, I get my mind, I can't enjoy it when it's cluttered. Same thing with inside the house. This is the kind of clutter I can live with. Stuff. I got my stuff, but my stuff's in its place. So, Legos, says Susie Q. Yep, Legos everywhere. Everywhere there can be a Lego, there is. Doug Stack, good to see you, brother. Glad you made it in. How's the new business going, Doug? Getting things set up at that store? Tell us more about it over there. Why don't you call in, Doug, and tell us about your business? Hang on. Let me get you a call-in number here or link. Guys, if you want to call into the show this morning, Doug, if you want to call and tell us how your business is going, tell us more about it. There it is. There's your number. And, hey, good morning. Well, Ellery's up. Is Flynn awake?
I don't know.
You don't know. Here, hop aboard. You're way over there, so you're way behind all that stuff. Hi. Ellery woke up. There she is. So what are you doing this morning? Nothing? How long you been awake? You've been awake a while, and you just decided to come down now? Or what? Yeah, that's it. Okay. Well,
I found your red inhaler.
Thank you. That's an old one. That's just the housing for it. That's not the stuff. So, but thank you. And so what are you going to do right now? You can go there's some donuts out there. You can go have a donut. And we'll cook some lunch. We'll make that spaghetti for lunch today.
I don't like caramel donuts.
Okay, have one of your chocolate ones. Or did they all fall on the floor?
Remember, only
Oh well. There's a little apple pie and a little blueberry pie out there. You can make some toast. There's toast and peanut butter. There you go. It's not that I don't feed my kids. It's that they're old enough to figure out how to feed themselves. So, That sounds so bad. We cook for him all the time. But there's times you go, hey, if you're hungry, go grab something. We're going to cook later. So Doug Stack is 15 minutes from home. I've been up since 6. Oh, man. Since 6 a.m.? On a Sunday. Could you turn that down, please, out there? Spitball for breakfast, yeah. Hey, Ellery, come here. I hate when I call my kids and they go, what? It's like I stay silent. I just call them again. So I didn't call you so I could yell at you across the house. Go put that on 30 for me and bring it back. Please. Going to warm up my now cold cup of coffee because it's I've exhausted my coffee without brewing new coffee. So she's going to go warm that up for me. Maybe some of you think, you warm your coffee in the microwave? Well, it's the same cup I started with, so it just got cold. So coffee for breakfast, too. That's right, Sapphire Owl. Coffee for breakfast. I don't speak English without coffee. So I made some French press this morning. And guys, if you don't have French press, if you don't even know what French press is, go look it up. It's where you rough grind your bean. You get coffee bean, grind it, but not real fine, kind of rough. Put it in the bottom of the carafe. You boil your water. And we've got one of those pots where you just turn on the little switch and, it's fill it with water first. And then pour the water in, you let it, and you mix it. I always mix the bean up in there a little bit. And you let it steep for at least 4 minutes. And then you press it down. Hey, thank you, sweetheart. There, I have warm coffee now. And you press it down to the bottom. The screen presses all the water, that hot water's been steeping in there, and it presses the bean down to the bottom, your residue, and then you've got coffee left. And that is some of the best tasting coffee. And that's what I like drinking. So that's what I got left is just the one cup right here. So it's like, hey, go warm this up for me in the microwave. So let's see. Who else talking in there? There's lots of stuff going on. My wife and I are in the early stages of planning a similar earned allowance system like that, Sapphire. Oh, I missed something. Have them clean up, or you guys say it's getting donated. Sapphire, you're on. You speak my language. We've used that one. And my son on top of it has, and I've mentioned this before, but he's going through puberty. He's going to be 12 in about 7 weeks. He'll be 12. 8 weeks. 2 months out. And so he's going through puberty. He's almost as tall as I am. He comes up to about here on me now. Flynn, I'm 6 foot tall, minus a hair because I'm shrinking. But he comes up to about here on me. And tall and lean. And he's become very disrespectful. Hormones running away. Freight engine loose on the tracks. And with no brakes. So not only does he get the threats of packing his stuff up and shipping it away, but losing it. And you tell me if you think this is too extreme. I told him, I said, if I hear you talking to your mom that way again and not doing what you're supposed to do, I said, I will take your most valuable collector's cards and I will tear them in pieces and burn them in a bowl while you weep. Are we straight on this? And me personally, Rainey says, no, don't do that. Don't destroy them. Just sell them. I said, no, I don't want to profit from them. I want him to see that his actions will have consequence. And the consequence is that valuable card will no longer exist in the universe, except in a different form. So if you think that's too extreme, you let me know. Would I burn a card that he bought for $1 that's now worth $200? Would I burn it? Yeah, hell yeah. If I looked it up and found out it was worth $37,000, though, I'd probably sell it to whoever wanted to buy it. The worth placed on some of those collectible things, is only worth what somebody's willing to actually put out of pocket for it. So while they may say it's worth $37,000, whether you'll get $37,000 for it or not is the big question. So, or donated, says Morgan Snow. Good morning, Morgan Snow. I told them that I'll throw the not picked up toys out the window. Boom. Sapphire Owl says, as someone who used to collect cards, that would motivate me. Yeah, there you go. I used to collect comic books, so I understand that. And so I remember, God, it was almost 30 years ago and 25 years ago. I had an issue number 2, I think. No, it might have been the number 1. The Batman Azazel mini series of in the Batman comics that they had done. Came out in the early 90s. And I had one of those, and I looked it up, and it was only a year old, and it was already worth $37. Maybe that's where the $37,000 came into my brain. It was $37, and I paid, $2 for it back in the early 90s. So I hung on to that. I still got it somewhere. It's in plastic in a box somewhere, along with all my other collectible comics. So, yeah, working to earn them back. That's another thing. Yeah, I do that too. We do a lot of that. I've got this thing now. It's in this drawer. You will not touch it. And I have that booby trapped, so I know that if you touch it, you're gonna be missing a knuckle or something. So don't even try to reclaim it on your own when we're not looking. And not really. I don't really set bloody traps for my children, but I let them know it's right there. You will not touch it. And they have to earn it back and earn back the privilege and the right to use the thing. So now these are all great suggestions, but let me ask you, is there any way to motivate your children to do what they're supposed to do without having to add a threat to it? That's the big question. Do threats by nature have to accompany motivation? Or can motivation be, you'll earn this thing? Like for my son, he likes to collect these cards, and we'll run across something at a store and I'll go, Dad, I don't have any money. Can you buy this for me? And I'm like, you know what, son? Yeah, I'll buy it for you. But you know what? It's going to sit in this bag until you earn it. And stuff like that. And he has to work and do things to get that. It's like I gave him a few bucks before I left town and said, I need you to do what your mom needs help with. I said, you help her out. I said, you get your room clean. You get this. And this is a positive motivation I tried. Listen to this. Here's a few bucks. I'll double that when I get back if you've accomplished the goals I've given you to accomplish, the tasks, and you're helpful to your mom, and I get no reports of you being smarmy or smart-assed or mouthing off to your mom. You treat your mom with honor and respect. And I said, keep in mind, son, she may be your mom, but she's my wife. And nobody talks to my wife the way you talk to your mom. And I said, so here's the motivation. I'm giving you a few bucks ahead of time. Put that in your bank so you can start saving up for the thing you want to do. And when I get back, I'll double it if you've accomplished everything I've given you to do. And it's not unreasonable, the stuff I gave him to do. Clean your room. Help your mom out around the house when she asks, without grumbling. No talking back. Do you think he accomplished that? There's a cliffhanger for you. Did he make it? Oh. And today, now when he wants to do something, he's all about, what can I do? Father, what may I do to help around the house so I can earn this thing I want to do? And I said, well, did you do the last thing I asked you to do? So, guys, what is the positive motivators that you use? So I would work him. Yes, and confiscate them. Give them back later, says Susie Q. Yep. He would have to work to earn it back. Teresa Danton. Indiana Jones traps for kids. Call the new product line there. Yeah. Oh, I like that. Traps for kids. So, you pull that thing out, the big ball comes rolling out to crush you. So, I watched a car like mine sell at the Barrett Johnson auction for almost $200,000 yesterday. Wow. That's crazy, Sean. You could buy a house with that. Kind of. Almost. So, only things that ever work is by fear of punishment, says Matt Finn. And that doesn't mean empty threats and to create an incentive. Exactly. Sapphire Owl, is there a place the kids want to go or something they want to do? Have the tasks done by a set time. Boom! Today, my son wants to go over at 11 o'clock, which is an hour and 15 minutes from now, just downtown here, mile away, to the, we have a little gaming store in town, board games and stuff like that. And he wants to go play Pokemon there. It starts at 2 o'clock, but they said the doors open at 11. He can come over at 11. And that the young woman there is going to help him put together his card decks with all his cards. He's going to bring his big box. And I said, we'll go tomorrow. I told him yesterday. I said, if you get all your stuff done. Now, technically, he's about this close to all his stuff being done. He said, Dad, set an alarm. Make sure we're up at 11 so we can go in at 11. I said, how about I set it for 6 and you can get up and help me finish cleaning the house? Is his response. So we'll see how that goes. Take 'em fishing, says Elderberry, or allow stayovers with friends as a prize for acting right. Yeah, there it is. There are prizes. Going gaming at the store, playing games with other people at the gaming store, that's a privilege that you earn. And if you didn't earn it, don't grumble, especially when I put the parameters out there ahead of time. Now, there's some things that are surprises. Like my twin daughters are in town right now. And we're all getting together tomorrow. Well, they want to take us all over to the new zoo. We call it the new zoo still. That's how it came out the year I graduated from high school. That's 44 years ago. So 43 years ago. It's not the new zoo anymore. It's the Minnesota Zoo. Now, we've got the free zoo in St. Paul, Como Park Zoo, that's been there for 120 years, whatever it is. And that's free. It's inner city, and you can go in and see the zoo and so on, and there's donations and all that. I don't think they still don't charge anything. It's a municipally owned zoo. Now, the big zoo, the Minnesota Zoo, which is very cool, it's got all these indoor habitats. And I mean habitat. They're not cells where they put the animals. They're acres and acres of indoor, inside concrete, with skylights and all of that. But it's all grown up. It's all jungle in there, and it's well tended to. And the paths go through there. And, of course, they're safe paths. You either got concrete walls with coverings over them or bars or whatever. But you can walk through these environments. And they don't put the wild animals in there like the carnivores, like the tigers that are going to eat you if you stray off the path. It's mostly monkeys and birds and things like that. But they got all of that in there. They got a big aquarium. It's floor to ceiling, 40 feet long, this aquarium wall. And it's just unbelievable. I took my twin daughters there, my twin daughters, just in my mind mentally, not Rainey's kids in mind, but my kids from my previous marriage. I took my twin daughters to that aquarium when they were 2. I got pictures of them in front of 2 and 3. And so now they're in town and they want to take us all to the Minnesota Zoo. Now, we haven't been to the Minnesota Zoo in a while. You know why? It costs about $30 per person to get in. It's like a major attraction. $30. I think it was $27.95 to get in the door at the Minnesota Zoo. And I said, with a family of 5, that's $150 just to get in and see animals. So going to the Minnesota Zoo has not been a common activity in our family. I don't think we've ever taken our current kids there in the time I've had my kids, because I haven't spent $150 to take us all to the zoo. So, well, we weren't always five. We were three, and then four, and then five. But we haven't spent that kind of money. Yeah, Susie Q, that's a grocery budget. Now with my family, we figure it's about $100 a month to feed us. So our grocery budget might be a little different. It's about $500 to $800 a month to feed this family. Now, could we do it more frugally? Yeah, but I'm not going to feed them processed shit, which is cheap. And like you, Susie Q, I like to cook. My wife likes to cook. Sometimes it's a drudgery when you're tired out. You're like, oh my God, go get the 25-cent box of macaroni and cheese. And we taught them how to make it, so we don't even have to get off our butts and make it for them. But that's not every day. I like to cook. My wife likes to cook. She throws a lot of stuff in the pressure cooker, those newer pressure cookers. Last night, my daughter, we were going all day doing stuff. I took them out to lunch for Mexican. And we went to the little Mexican restaurant here in town. Got an enchilada and rice. My little girl only ate the rice. Didn't want the enchilada. Flynn had a couple of soft shell tacos. I had a chimichanga. And by 7 o'clock at night, you go, whoa, I'm hungry. Oh, I guess I haven't eaten for 7 hours. And so my daughter wanted me to make spaghetti. I said, sure. I said, we're missing a couple things. So we ran to the store quick, got some ground beef, and looked for a couple of other things. French bread, garlic bread that you throw in the oven. And by the time we got home, it's 8 o'clock. It's 8:15. And I said, you know what? It's so late. It's too late to cook a big dinner. So it's going to take me 45 minutes to prep this anyway. Because you don't just throw the sauce and hamburger in a ground beef in a pot and warm it up. You got to cook it a little bit. Prep the noodles or the pasta, whatever we're going to use. And so I said, you know what? Let's save this for tomorrow. Why don't we just take out the air cooker? Let's do up some French fries. And we've got some macaroni salad. Boom. Not the lightest of dinners, but not full cooking. It was 14 minutes in the air fryer for the French fries. And the macaroni salad was scoopable. And so that's what we did for dinner. My little girl protested. I wanted spaghetti. I said, I'm not going to cook that at 9 o'clock at night. So we're eating at 9:30 at night. Just not feasible. Too late to eat a meal like that. So we'll do it today for lunch. So you guys get it. Sean Bowden ate at the taco truck last night. Had a monster burrito, 3 tacos, and a taco salad. Boom, baby. That's taco eating. That's the taco life. Way to go, brother. Get well, said Elderberry. Kids need to know basic cooking. Yes, they do, Sapphire. And they do. My kids know how to make eggs. They could do bacon if they really think about it. And all it is bacon. It's just another thing to cook. They just got to be careful, for oil and splatter and stuff like that. It is very hard to eat while digesting food. They say you really, if you go to bed around 10 or 11 o'clock at night, you shouldn't eat after 7 p.m. for your body's metabolism. And then I do the other end. I usually do about an 18-hour fast. I stop eating around 7 at night, generally speaking. Not last night. We had French fries and macaroni salad at 9:30 because everybody was hungry. We hadn't eaten since noon. And so, but generally after 7, you don't eat. And then I don't eat until usually about 11 o'clock in the morning or noon the next day. I don't like eating breakfast. I'm not a big breakfast fan. So I generally have that from 7 to noon. You're looking at about 16, 17, 18 hours of fast. And so I fast without knowing I'm fasting. And then I eat at noon. and we'll eat dinner at about 4 to 5 o'clock in that range, and we're done for the day. That's pigging out, Sean, says Teresa. Yeah, Teresa, that's the way to pig out, too. Man. Whew. Sometimes you got to do it. What's your favorite pig out food, everybody? Sean's is tacos, apparently. Mexican style, pigging out. I love Italian, but you know the thing about Italian? It's pasta. It's all carbs. It just sits in your gut. And now I'm not a health nut by any means. I'm not in great shape. I'm in horrible shape. I got fat where guys aren't supposed to have fat. It's like, would you have 3 babies or something? Where's your cesarean scar, Scotty? My fat all gathers low in my body. And I'm compositionally okay from one angle, but you turn me to the side, whoosh. So, I mean, I've got your typical body. You can see. Typical middle-aged body. You know, I'm not too bad here. But where it gets me, down low. And man boobs. That isn't just pec muscles anymore. I'm solid, but still, it's man boobs, and I don't like it. One of the things about growing older I don't like. Losing my hair and man boobs. And, of course, I don't go out in the sun anymore anyway without my shirt. I don't go to the pool because I'm all discombobulated because of the heart surgery. I got the big scar. That's not a big problem. That's like, scar. Yeah, I got a scar. But no, I got all this discoloration. Off of the scar, which goes down to the bottom of my sternum. From the bottom of my sternum, across the bottom of my ribs, and up in kind of a cross shape, I have all these little fibrous blood vessel things that have been there since the surgery. It's like, I don't know if it broke all those blood vessels or whatever. And so I take off my shirt and I got this hairy cross, is what it looks like on my chest, of purple and red. And I don't like it. And there's a big scar down the middle. It's just not to be shown in public. It's like, hi there. I see you're having lunch and a picnic on the beach, but let me show off my scarred chest to you. Gross. Teresa says, rarely ever, but I like to pig out on pizza. Yeah, I like pizza too. You know, I used to love pizza. The problem is, it's all dough. I'm not, again, I don't watch things that tightly. I'm diabetic and I have to a certain extent, but I never used to. But I don't like eating a lot of pizza anymore. If I'm really hungry and it hits me just right, I love a greasy, flat, New York style pizza. Maybe Chicago style, the Chicago way. Or the New York style, those big pieces and they're greasy and you can fold them up and eat them. Sometimes that just hits the right spot. But I can't eat a lot of it because it's too much bread. Bread, pasta, all that stuff just sits in my body and makes me fat because I don't exercise. So maybe if I exercise, it wouldn't matter so much. Well, I take that back. I do exercise. Not a lot. I was doing the treadmill, my big Nordic Trek thing that my daughter's got me. The little computer screen on it, and you can go walking or running anywhere in the world along with a trainer. Hey, you keeping up? Look, there's the Eiffel Tower that we're going to run around now. You know, and hey, we're going around the Eiffel Tower and the camera pans out and all of that. And I pity the guy that's got to run alongside him. What if it's a typical camera operator? Which aren't usually guys that are in great shape, but you imagine being the camera operator having to follow a fitness trainer running for 5 miles. Hey, let's go run for 5 miles and, look at the Roman Colosseum while we're doing it. So I can do that. I like there's a couple of the ones that are my favorites. Any of you watch the series Outlander? The Scottish series based on the books. I love that show. Really well done. And historically speaking, too. And there's one of the guys in there, Graham, I want to say Tavish is his last name. And now I can't remember his name. See, brain fart. I can't remember his character's name. He was in the earlier seasons. He was the clan chieftain's brother, I think. He had the big white mustache and beard. If you know who he is. Douglas is in the wings. All right, we'll get to you in a second here, Doug. But do you remember, I think his name is Graham Tavish. He just did a series with the guy who played the main, Sam, what's his name, who played the main character, Jamie Fraser, in that series. Well, anyway, Graham is taking you up a walk up one of the mountains in Scotland. And there's a path, and he's giving you the history of the place as you're going up. And the treadmill, it's set to go with him. And so the camera's following him, and it's panning around, and you're seeing where you are and what you're doing. Gorgeous setting. And he's talking the whole way up. He's talking about the history and why this is a place and why people for 1,000 years have been climbing this mountain. And you're going, and then the track itself goes with the trainer, and it you feel if you start climbing a little steeper, you feel the steepness. If it levels off, you feel that you've leveled off a bit, and so on. It's great computerized treadmill. And so I'm going up this treadmill, and I'd be like, if I was talking, given the history, and this is a place where they did the thing with the thing. But Graham Tavish isn't that way. He's like, it's like he must be in really good shape or something. So Douglas, welcome to the show, brother.
How's it going?
I don't hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
How you doing? How's the business going?
Oh, it's going. A little nervous because tomorrow's a big day.
Yeah, big opening day?
Yeah, pretty much. And I'm still looking for another tire tech.
So what are you doing at home if tomorrow's opening day?
I've been sweating and slaving at the shop all the last few days. So
I know. I've been following you.
Oh, it's hot.
So yes.
But,
so tell everybody what your business is again, what you're doing.
Well, what I'm doing is starting off with the tires. We're gonna be doing new tires, used tires, repairing tires, rotating.
Sure.
And as soon as I can get a second experienced tire guy, we're gonna start doing like small mechanical work, like brake jobs,
Cool.
replacing blowers and filling AC units and stuff like that.
Oh, Doug, sorry about that. I accidentally removed you from the stream. I didn't mean to do that. I was just going back to a twin screen shot here and accidentally pulled you out.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm nervous for the big day. I got the butterflies in my stomach.
Sure.
I went to bed, relatively early for me, which was about midnight or so, or maybe a little bit before. And woke up at 6 o'clock when my wife's alarm went off for her to go to work.
Yeah.
And I thank God for Facebook, because it reminded me that it was our 9th wedding anniversary today.
Oh, nice. You're like, oh, that's today?
Yeah. So now, instead of going out to the brewery to pick up a gift certificate for my father for Father's Day, I gotta go and find something that she wants for her wedding anniversary.
Nice.
At least it's not
Father's
a 10
Day.
or at least it's not a 10 or a 15 or a 20-year anniversary. That it doesn't have to be the big glitzy stuff.
Right. Well,
but
I got my 14th wedding anniversary to Raini is coming up it's a few months away. It's maybe not coming up. It's in the fall. And we barely started summer. So
I knew it was coming up soon, and I was like, okay, I didn't know exactly what day it was.
Yeah.
And when I was looking through, it said congratulations on your anniversary. I was like, oops.
Oh, oops.
But it's all right because she didn't remember either.
Yes,
I,
yes.
she's at work today, so she's not really paying attention to it. So
Yep.
it buys me a little bit of time.
Yes. I get that.
Hmm.
And it's also the summer solstice today,
Is it? I
which
thought
is
it was the 23rd.
it's 20th.
Ah.
And it was something I said on Friday. We're going to talk a little bit about the summer solstice today. So I haven't even done that yet.
Oh, wow. I didn't even notice.
I was just reminded of that when you said you were reminded of your anniversary. So I
I'm
thought today is something else too.
Father's Day. Summer solstice.
Yeah.
It's somebody's birthday somewhere.
It's Errol Flynn's birthday today. He'd have been 112 years old today if he lived so long.
Mm.
He died in
Okay.
64? Or did he die in the late 50s? He either died just before I was born or just after I was born.
Mm.
So, but yep. Very
But yeah,
important.
I haven't worked in almost 2 years, and just being at the shop the last couple of days, man, it has kicked my butt.
I'll bet.
I come home completely drained,
Yep.
and I know it's gonna get better and everything, but
Sure it will.
right now it's like I'm bleeding money left and right, and it's like
Hemorrhaging money. That's what business is. And
yep.
hopefully it gets you to the place where you're making more than you can handle.
Well, see, I would like that, yeah, but that's not a complete goal. My goal is for us to live a better life.
Yep.
Not
Well,
have
that's
to
all I
worry
mean by
about.
that.
Yeah, not have to worry about, am I going to pay the bills this month or
Not have to be beholden to the boss. When you're your own boss, you're the entrepreneur, you're the one putting your time and effort into something that's yours. If you fail, it's because of you. If you succeed, it's because of you. Now, people might say, well, it's everybody else that works around you too. Yeah, it is, but you're the guy with the business. You're the guy that's putting it together. You're the guy that's making it work. You know why I like working for myself? Mostly because then I don't have to go work for some jackass somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the jackass.
And that's like my tire tech. His father owned the business. I bought the business from his father, and he stayed on. And he is a darn good worker. He knows exactly what everything is. If they pull up, he can tell them what's wrong with their vehicle before they even pull up.
That's nice.
So it's like him. I need to get another experienced tire guy because for him, he doesn't want to do the tires as much anymore, which is fine. I mean, if he's bringing in customers to do mechanic work, then and we're getting more business through. Okay, this guy is doing the tires. He could tell them what's wrong, and they don't have to go anywhere else to go get it fixed. So
I need new tires. I need 4 new tires on my Suburban, but you're 1,200 miles away. So,
well, I mean, you can let me know, and maybe there's something that I can work out because being a tire owner, I can get the stuff
that's cool
at cost.
Well, now the story of this Suburban, we bought this old Suburban, 17 years old, white Suburban, a little bit of rust around the rims, which you can keep it as it is and say it's vintage, or do something with it. That's not the big, and it's the interior's nice. Everything purred like a kitten. Can't even hear it when it starts or when it's running. And we had that quitting problem. It was killing on me. I'd drive it around and then it would just kill and it would act like it's out of gas. And the first time it happened, I thought, did I run out of gas? Because that's what it felt like. And you turn the key and everything was working. Battery, everything's up and running. It just won't work, just chugged. And I thought, if I keep trying this, I'm going to kill the starter.
Yeah.
And then we find out, we think it's a fuel pump problem. Well, we checked the fuel pump. My neighbor, who's a mechanic, he goes, it's not your fuel pump. He said, it's your fuel filter. It's clogged. So he was going to change that for me. The thing was rusted solid, which says to me
Wow.
in 17 years, the thing had probably
Yeah.
never been changed. So we finally had to, we had to break the line, the fuel line, and then they did an extension on it, put it back together, replaced the fuel filter, and a couple of other things. We had to do the tie rods in the front and some stuff like that. And then it's all set to go. Still purrs like a kitten. I drove it back from my buddies up north, 150 miles from here. And it made it about 100 miles and it killed on the freeway at 75 miles an hour.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, shit. So I start to pull over and I put it in neutral. I turn the key, boom, it's up again. Oh, okay, good. Well, then I pull off the nearest exit and I let it sit. And it quit 2 more times on the way home.
Oh.
So we still think it's the only thing we think it can be is the fuel pump. Because you can get under it. And I did this one of the times it quit. You turn the key on without the ignition. And you get under and you bang on the gas tank and it forces that fuel into the pump. Boom, starts right up. So I think it's the fuel pump. It's just getting old. So all you car guys out there would know. I don't. Probably the fuel pump or ignition coil or module.
Yeah.
So, well, we'll see. The guy that was working on it when I was up in Andes this last week was getting on his equipment that there was the theft device on the ignition was coming up as a problem. And so he cleaned all the electric extender, all the electric parts and all that the way you're supposed to. And he did that, and he replaced the fuel filter and replaced the gas line and all of that. So, and it's still doing it. So we think it's got to be the pump. That's the common issue, said Matt Finn. There you go.
Yeah, and I think when you were stuck up at Rainey's parents' house, I think Matt had said it's probably the fuel pump.
Fuel pump. Yep. That's what my neighbor said. Well, he tested the fuel pump. Well, tested it as much as he can. It would engage, and he could hear it run. And so we thought it's not the fuel pump. It's got to be the filter. So all of that. And you know, the funny thing is, to get the fuel filter to replace that, if it had been rusted, unscrew it, put the new fuel filter on. Boom, you're done. You spend $10, $12 on a fuel filter. And then the time it takes to unscrew it and screw it back in. To replace the fuel pump, they got to take off the gas tank and drop it and then get everything underneath and put it back up. So you know what it costs locally in our small town to replace a fuel pump? About $1,000.
Wow.
And so my friend Andy said, just limp it back up here. And his mechanic who worked on all the stuff, he said, I'll have my mechanic do it. He says, and I'll cover it. And he said it's not going to be a big deal for him. Well, and so I just don't like driving it, knowing it's going to kill on me again somewhere along the way. And so it's good for small trips. You know, we went a few miles around town yesterday.
Well, that's like what? It's an hour and a half away.
To get up to Andy's, it's 2.5 hours. It's funny. Okay. It comes out to about 150 miles or maybe almost 200. But it's all, you can go freeway, and it takes you a little over 2 hours. It's north of here, Brainerd, Minnesota. You may have heard of Brainerd. Paul Newman used to race his car at the Brainerd speed track, you know, stuff like that. And Paul Bunyan land up there. And so
what you do is you drive for about 45 minutes and take a break.
That's what I was thinking. Drive halfway. Now, it fit the formula. It's kind of funny. On my way up there, I got about 100 miles, and it quit. Let it sit for 10 or 15 minutes. Started it up again. Boom. Got to about a mile from where I was at Andy's place, and it quit again. Andy came out. That's when he banged on the gas tank. Started right up. We were taking it right to the shop. We got a mile away. It quit again. So that formula, it followed 100 miles, then 50 miles, and then a mile and a mile. On the way home, it went about 100 miles and quit. Then it did another 50 miles and quit. Then a mile and a mile. almost the same formula of quitting and not running. So,
Yeah.
and so kids out there, where this, I said earlier in the show, this is not financial talk. This is also not automotive talk. We're just talking about it. So this show is not about that for anybody watching. So anyway, there you go. Blah, 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 blah. Dark Truth, 11:11, he said. It's now 10:13 here. So that must have been 2 minutes ago. So 11:11. Bum, bum, bum. Yeah, automotive repairs are just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, and that's why over here, and we live in a small town.
Yep.
There's quite a few, mechanic shops here.
Mm-hmm.
And my thing is, I know what the going rate for the labor is.
Yep.
At the other mechanic rate, and honestly, I'm not going to be buying most of the parts because I'll tell them, listen, you'll save money if you buy the part and you pay my labor. My labor is only going to be like $70 to $80 an hour.
Yep.
Where everybody else in town is $100 to $150.
Does it take 10 hours to replace a fuel filter or a fuel pump?
It depends, but not 10 hours.
It would seem to me I could call up a YouTube video and figure out how to replace that. Now, I know you got to drop the gas tanks. You got to make sure your gas is all drained out of there and all that stuff. I get that.
I mean, for an experienced mechanic, I don't see more than 2 hours.
That's the thing. So what costs $1,000 to replace a fuel pump? I don't get it.
It's the markup on the part. It's the
well, a fuel pump can't be that expensive. Well, I don't think.
Let me put it to you this way: I replaced the radiator on my truck a couple of years ago. The part, if I was to go in by myself, as not with the business or whatever, if I bought that part, it was like $357.
Most expensive fuel pump I'm seeing for a 2003 Suburban is $75. Wait, there's one on here at 2003, and one for $175 at Parts Geek. But the rest of them are 50, 55, 65, 75, 60. And then one for $175. I'm not buying that one.
I ended up paying like $75 for the radiator because I had a business discount.
There you go.
And if I had taken it, the whole job with all the parts I needed, and the labor cost what I would have, if I were to walk in there and just buy the radiator itself. Now,
by the way, Matt Finn says Doug Stack doesn't understand Northern Rust.
I do understand it, because I lived up there for 20 years or 25 years up north. Not Michigan rust or Wisconsin rust. I had New York rust, so it wasn't as bad. But like I said, I mean, if they go and buy the parts, we're not going to be buying parts. So, we're just going to charge labor on the thing. And the labor, I mean, you could do a brake job of, 4 brakes in 30 minutes. And look, I remember quite a few times of paying $400 or more on brake jobs. Whereas, it doesn't cost them much for parts and labor, or it doesn't cost much for parts.
Yeah.
$100 for all four brakes.
My buddy Andy up north, where I went to work on his stuff, he had his guy work on this car, and this guy's got a shop. A few guys work for him, cars all over the place. And he's a young guy in good shape and does his job well. And but he's enormously inexpensive. And it probably because Andy's got a good relationship with him on top of it. But he did all of my stuff up there. He changed the tie rods. He picked the car up one morning at Andy's house, drove it over to his shop, and replaced the tie rods earlier in the week. It was done in like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And the car's ready. And it was like, $100, couple $100 at most. Something like that.
So I'm thinking, if I get if I charge say even $50 to change brakes,
Yeah.
that in an 8 hour day, that's that's a lot of breaks that we can
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
And we make money, they save money, and
There it is.
it's all fair. Like
Well,
I
this guy
said
fixed my
before,
brakes too. He fixed my brakes while he had the tie rods. He was doing the tie rods. He goes, "Oh, your brakes need fixing." So I think we spent a whole $350 with him this last week to fix the brakes, replace the tie rods, do the fuel filter and the fuel line that he replaced part of it, put the extension on, and all of that. So
yeah. See, my brain isn't working with math real good right now, but in an eight
my
hour
brain
day,
never works good with math.
say the brake job cost takes 30 minutes. $50 16 times in a day. That's some
Yeah,
significant money. I know it's not going to be like that every day,
sure.
but I mean, there's going to
It's like
be
for me.
times.
I charge as you know so well. I charge $650 to do a logo. If I did one logo a day for 20 days out of the month, that's a pretty good income.
Yeah.
But I don't. I get maybe 4 logos a month to do. Plus, like if I illustrated books every month, if I had one book a month to illustrate, that's all I'd ever have to do. But I get those maybe once every 6 to 8 months. I get a book to illustrate. Cover designs for books. I charge about the same for a logo. And I could do them in a day. If I did one book cover a day, for all the independent authors out there, you think there's not one book cover a day to do? There is. But I get maybe 2 or 3 a month at most. So it all stacks up. And then illustrations to do for people. And that's the same kind of thing in what I do. And so some months we have really good months. Other months we're like, did we make $300 this month?
Yeah.
And so it's a roller coaster sometimes. And so right now we've come off of a nice high, and it's making sure we sit on and manage that now, just in case the next couple of months aren't very good. Or we do some of our Christmas shopping now. I'm a guy, so I don't think that way. I don't think about Christmas shopping till December 22nd. But my wife is
I
like,
do it on December 24th.
My wife will come home with a bunch of stuff. Telescope games. So what are you doing? She goes, well, we had a little extra. This is for Christmas. Oh, okay, cool. We can't do that for each other, though. I'll always buy her an early Christmas present. I give it to her in July. I got you this for Christmas, but I can't wait till Christmas to give it to you. So
I couldn't get anything for July because if I go and hide it, I wouldn't find it until after Christmas.
Yeah, I hear you. Field guy, I can draw, but I can't draw stick men. I have people tell me, I wish I could draw like you. I can't even draw a stick man. I said, neither can I. So I can't draw stick men either. They're always too detailed. Scott Allen's in the room. I was asked to illustrate a book. Outstanding, Scott Allen.
Awesome.
That's great. See, I need to get into a network of illustrating books. I'm in all these groups on Facebook that are for illustrating kids' books and stuff like that. Independent authors, most of them. But you see somebody go, I need an illustrator for this book on dinosaurs. And so you go and put up a post and you go, hey, I'm Scotty. Here's a link to my portfolio. Here's a couple of samples. Give me a call if you like what you see. And by the time I see it and I put my post up, in 3 hours, there's 190 posts on there of people from about 150 of them from Singapore, another bunch from India, another bunch from here and there. You got 2 or 3 people from the United States. And that's the way those groups go. And so I get in and I'm like, I'm the 191st person posting in this. Since that person put this post up 3 hours ago, they're never going to get to my stuff. And so those kind of groups are insane for trying to find work. You got to have an agent. Now I've got an agent, but she's a literary agent. But you got to have an agent that runs it works for illustrators. And some of those, they have so many artists in their stable, they don't have the time. So you have to make yourself known and do your own pushing and shoving and all of that to go, hey, look at my stuff. Sean Bowden says, I can draw cars. I can't draw cars. I'm not good at cars. So
now I could draw stick figures.
Yeah.
That's about all I can draw.
Nice. I can't. Oh, look at this. My little girl Ellery. She did a dinosaur for me the other day. Look at that.
Nice.
And I said, she first showed it to me. She goes, Dad, I did this for you. And I go, what is that? I said, is that supposed to be Lucy, our pug? Or is that a groundhog? She goes, it's a dinosaur. I go, oh, that was my next guess. So there you go. T-Rex with the little itty bitty arms. Should have been I don't know, maybe. And I asked her if it was supposed to be me. She's got Dad there. It's Dad. With my little itty bitty arms. So she just did that for me. My artistic.
I think we could make a song out of that. Daddy T-Rex.
Daddy T-Rex. Do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to come up with something like Daddy T-Rex. Do. Daddy T-Rex. Do. My little arms. So. No, I was not squeezing breasts. It was little arms. So. Anyway, Doug, why don't you tell people where they can find your shop? There's probably not a lot of local people from your town on our show this morning, but tell people the name and where people can find you and find them, and find you if they want to come and see your shop.
I haven't set up the social media yet. I'm waiting on my daughter to come back from Arkansas. She's moving back down here this month. And she's gonna do my social media. So, but it's the name on the outside is Tony's Tires. It's in Ville Platte, Louisiana, and I gotta get the number. I don't have the number just yet. I'm not doing my personal number because my phone will never stop ringing.
Right.
So yeah, I mean we're doing a little opening tomorrow. Hopefully it's a successful one, and
outstanding.
I will be taking pictures of the outside of the building. I mean it's not up to par just yet, and it still won't be right away. But we're working it a little at a time, and you know it's a work in progress.
Yes, I get it. Well, congratulations, Doug, and good luck tomorrow. I'll be thinking of you. I'll call you on the phone tomorrow. Hey, Doug, This is Scotty. How's your business going? You're not busy, are you?
Well, look, I hope in this one instance tomorrow when you call me, I hope I'm too busy to answer the phone.
Me too. If it goes to voicemail, I'll know you're doing well or you're pooping.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to be open 7:30 to 4, so it's not
cool.
We get out early, and then on Saturdays we're going to open up probably 7:30 or 8 o'clock and go till about noon, unless we're swamped, and we'll go till the work is done.
Right on, brother. Well, good luck. I know it's nice to just talk to you and have you on the show, but folks, there's Doug's new business. Wish him luck. Send out some good energy for Doug tomorrow, and I wish you the best, brother.
Thank you. Great.
All right, see you later. All right, guys. Anybody else out there starting a business? Scott Allen, you said you're going to be illustrating a book. What's the topic of the book? I'm very curious to know. If you want to call and talk about it, let us know. We're talking about not being able to draw stick figures. And now I know that you all know I know how to draw. It's what I do for a living. But while Doug was talking, I just ran and got a stack of stuff that was in a drawer just to show you, this is the kind of stuff I do. Like this is from that Son of a Patriot. That was the original. That's the original ink sketch for that. And then I colorized it on the computer. That's the kind of stuff I do. I got a whole stack of things here. I'll show you just for the hell of it. This might just be, that's just an empty tablet. I got, lots of half starts here of things. Here, this one was for the client of mine that did the book on Jesus. And so this was a watercolor. This is the original watercolor from that. So this is the kind of stuff I do. And so Jesus. What else we got here? Book illustrations, stuff like that. These were all illustrations for a book. This was for the little book, How to Rob a Bank. And, these were sketches for that book. And they were all colorized on the computer. This guy, the bank robber and his son. The whole theme is take your kid to work day. And so How to Rob a Bank was kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing. This is, this was a guy for a comic book I was illustrating last year. This is one of the character studies. Now, he wasn't supposed to look like Chris, is it Hemsworth, who plays Thor? He just kind of did. Sometimes I do that. I draw pictures of things and they look like people. Maybe he was subconsciously in my mind, but that was him. So what else we got here? I got a whole stack of things that are just kind of fun to look through. I just grabbed it because I had seen it in there the other day. This whole stack. Blah, blah, blah. Nothing there. That's good. Illustrations for a kid's book. That was one of the illustrations on a kid's book about a kid farting at a party. This is my agent and I were toying with ideas a few months back, and we wanted to do like a smart-ass, not a Garfield cat. I'm not a cat guy anyway, but so it wouldn't be like, out of my love for cats, I've created a cat book. Nah, so he's a smart-ass, smarmy, New Orleans pub cat. And I can't remember what we called him. I think we named him Oscar after my black cat. He looks blue here, but he's supposed to be black. And how do you illustrate a black cat except with black? Or you use blue as highlight. So, cat. This is more of that stuff. This is one of the early illustrations for that comic book that I had inked. And this was the same character, a little less muscular. That was one of the first shots at it. So he's an oceanic photographer. Let's see what else we got. What else we got in here? All kinds of, there's just stacks and stacks of this kind of stuff for book illustration work, and you do color illustrate. I colorize them in this one. I accidentally ran it way too close to the edge of the page, but and so I fixed it digitally. But this was the mom and dad from that particular thing. And what I did with this, because it was commercial, I didn't want to paint it all. I had her sitting on a big cushioned footstool. And I took a big cushioned footstool from a furniture store online, and I digitized it, and I made it look like a cartoon, and I had her sitting on that. And so I did some of the backgrounds that way because it was easy to do. It's the two girls in that book having a tea party. And what else we got in here? Boom, boom, boom. Oh, there's that from that same book. Everybody having their little tea party. And, this was the Oscar the pub cat in one of its early incarnations. What else we got in here? There he is. There he is when he was black. Oscar the pub cat. There he is. But see, it's in color, would have been very different. I tried these. There were a couple of other incarnations of Oscar the pub cat, and didn't get very far. This was actually going to be for a logo for the book, but so blah blah. This was a friend of mine who had a mechanics business, auto mechanics was called, or something like that, and we did this robot, and then I digitized him or scanned him in. And did all the coloring, and I put in rusty metals and stuff like that, and shadings, and painted him, airbrushed him that way. It was kind of fun. Oh, this is the original on the archaeological book. So that's full color now. I colorized it on the computer. And what else we got in here? All kinds of junk in here. Character studies. blah 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 blah. What else we got? I got just tons and tons of this stuff. Illustrations for clients, for book stuff. Oh, what was that? Nope. Here, this one. This is supposed to be on paleontologists. That was for a kid's book. I was hired to do a couple of illustrations for this kid's paleontological book. And these are real guys. The guy in the middle with the green and the red bandana and the beard, he's the guy. He was the main guy. So very comic bookish, but it's the way it worked out. What else we got? Oh, these are some of the pictures from the Jesus book I did for my client. Paintings like that, where they're taking Jesus down from the cross. So that was my rendition of that. And then I put that against a background digitally. I took a background of the ruins, not the ruins, but the walls of Jerusalem, or an old city like that with a stormy sky. And I tinted it way back into watercolor washes and oil painting and darkened it and all that. And I dropped that behind this image digitally. And I made it work. What else we got in here? This one's hard to tell, but it was a big rock that has stone carvings all over it. That was for a guy's book. Here's another one on the Jesus book. One like that, where he's hanging and face is covered and so on. And what else we got? I got a huge pile of this stuff just sitting here. So, Scott Allen, did you ever tell us I have a small oil painting commission, also a Photoshop commission going on right now? What's your book about? I doubt you can afford me. Yeah, that's the thing too, Scott Allen, you'll notice, is that, you know what? To hire me to do a book, I'm going to be more expensive than the guys from the Singapore sweatshops who will do an illustration for $5 a shot. I can't afford to do that. This is more of these ancient cylinder seals that I was illustrating for this guy's book. We did, I think, 12 of these like this, these different, yeah, there's another one. These are the originals, these ink drawings. So, what else we got? Yeah. All these things for these cylinder seals and archaeological things. And we wanted to get them to look as close as possible to the cylinder seal carvings. That. I mean, this is, you know, like Anunnaki era stuff. Stuff like this, you know. More of the same. We did a bunch of these of the stuff he was writing about. So, and that's more technical stuff. It's fun to do. It's fun to see it in print. It's fun to see, to actually do the work. But yeah, see more and more and more. Same stuff. Whole bunch of these. That was a nice job to do. And he paid me well. Von Bruning's book. What else we got in here? This is for somebody's tattoo, I think. Wicked Santa. This is for a book, believe it or not. So there you go. I had to have Raini pose for that one. It was a kind of a tongue-in-cheek book. What else we got in here? Oh, there's more of that book in here. See, now this is how I start. Stuff like this. Here's the pencil sketch. Now, I don't even know if I have the final inked one in here or not. Yeah, I do. Okay. So here's the pencil sketch. And I sketch really lightly. This was for the cover of the book. Okay. See that in the light pencil? And then this is the inked version of that same illustration. And so that went on to be something I scanned and colorized on the computer. And kids' books, illustrations. I'm just seeing what's in this stack now because it's kind of fun. Now, this is for a book. I think I have it over here, the actual finished book. Hold on. This was a couple of years ago. I did this book and also did the design and the layout of the book itself, the Legends of Elandria. So that's the book cover I did for that book. Book cover design. Like that. And there's even got my picture on the back. Yada, yada. But this was all. And then I did the interior design work on the book and laid out the whole book. Did all the illustrations for this. And some of those are right here. Here's the original illustrations. These are the watercolors that went in the book. You can even see where I tested colors and stuff up in the corners. So that kind of work. It's all pencil and then watercolor. And I got a few of those sitting here. Kangaroos and bobcats and skunks and warthogs and falcons and ferrets and turtles, dreaming turtles, turtles and glass baubles for this book. The pelican, sunrise, and I digitally enhanced these, some of these when I'm done. The four dogs in the dream or in the story. So stuff like that. And what have I got here? I got all kinds of stuff crammed into this. What is this? That's not illustration work at all. This is just an empty tablet. I got another tablet here. What's in this? Let's see. Oh, this was an illustration for a guy. This is the rough. He wanted a lion on a magic carpet. And so this was just the rough illustration I did for him. We were sitting at lunch and I drew this up. I think that's where I drew this when we were out at lunch. And I said, so something like this, only a little more refined. And that became the final. This is for kids' illustrations. And again, a lot of these, I do the inks like this. That's the original ink. And then I scan it into the computer and I colorize it on the computer. Boy, I got a ton of this kind of stuff. And this is all comic book type of work, which is not the only thing I do. But it tends to be a lot of the stuff I get, you know, this kind of thing. And it's all part of that book. And so I don't know if I have anything else in this. I got a couple of things in here. So I know this is not riveting radio, but it's here's more from that book. That one. It's all on about body shapes and being too tall, and it's about this giraffe. It's called A Head Above the Rest. Oh, this is for the guy with the lion on the magic carpet. He wanted me to take remember the famous World War II photo at the end of the war down, I think it's the street in New York, where the sailor grabs the woman and kisses her. He wanted me to take that same exact pose and show lions. So that's what that ended up. There you go. Same pose. He's got her head in the crook of his arm, arm around the waist. That's the way her legs were posed. She was a nurse or something, wasn't she? Or something like that. And I've got her in the plate of food because he has a food truck. So it's all about food. So that was the one with the lion and the kissing the lioness. There he is again. There's the lion. And the rest of these are more of the same of that. So this is all just a big stack that's sitting in a drawer. And I've got boxes full of this kind of stuff. And this is all stuff I've done more recent years. This was another version of that cover. So it was supposed to be very risque. So there you go. Boom. What else we got here? Oh, this was a Pony Express rider. What else have I got in here? This is all a notebook from that. When I was down in Texas a few years ago, that's when I did all of these for these books. This is the cover. This is all this was. If you look up on my, I believe it's on my website. If not, you may have seen it. This was the cover for How to Be an Archaeologist. And I did it silhouetted. You know what I was thinking of was in the original Raiders of the Lost Ark, where it shows Indiana Jones and his crew. They're up on that hillside and they're digging for the Well of the Souls. And you hear this song, they say, the Arabic singing in the background. They're digging and the bright sun's behind them with the golden sky. That's what this ended up being for the cover. And that was fun to do. What else have I got? I got something else going on here. Oh, that was a portrait for somebody for their logo. Stuff for a book. So, boy, a lot of stuff on that. This is all that era of that book, How to Rob a Bank. So, I think that's all I got in this one. So, yeah, that's the stuff I do. And that's what was handy. This is just all black and white stuff for the most part, other than the couple of color illustrations that were tucked in there. And you all saw the pirate one I did. And that's what Scott Allen made me think of. This is what Scott Allen's doing too. Getting his work. Doing so. Look at this. This is all the stacks of stuff that are just my daughters, when I was in the hospital with this heart surgery, they came over to my studio while I was in the hospital, and they were up here visiting, and they just dug through boxes of my art and asked if they could have some of my artwork. I said, sure. So there you go. Commercial art is different than, of course, as Scott Allen could tell you, or anybody who does art. It's different sometimes than the stuff you would do recreationally or for yourself. Because it's you painting because you're expressing something versus painting because you're doing work for someone else for a book on a commercial level. I'm sorry, what?
Can you spell driver's license?
You know, I am on the radio.
I know.
Can I spell what? Driver's license?
Yeah.
D-R-I-V-E-R apostrophe S-L-I license. Is it C or S? My C-E-N-S-E. Yeah.
That's what you're telling me. You gotta spell butterflies.
I'm not here to do all kinds of spelling for you while I'm doing my show. You know that? Butterfly or butterflies?
Butterflies.
F-L-I-E-S. Boom, that's all I'm doing. I'll see you in a little bit. I'm almost done. So there you go, folks. Just took that as the opportunity to share some art. Durwood, welcome to the show. Show some of your Federation work. I don't have that handy. It's all on the computer and scanned, Russ. I don't even know where the original drawings are for that. You know, when I did the warehouse drawings, I think I did that all digitally. So I don't even have that handy in hard art, as far as I know. I don't think I drew that any of that by hand. So let's see. Hey, Scott Allen, you're welcome. I'd like to see more of your stuff. So you should come on and show off some of your stuff. I'd like to see your work. Well, folks, as you can see, hasn't been a substantive day. Not a lot to talk about. Well, there's plenty to talk about, but I get some people that they don't like to hear politics. And, you know, sometimes I was just going to come on and say, hey, let's just kind of hit the news, see what's going on. I started looking at the news. Everything's political. So unless we start getting into like paranormal news, I'll save that for the week. And so just talking current events. Hey, what's going on in the world today? It's all politics. It's all world events. things like that. Yeah, there's other areas. We can look at archaeological news. That's easy to do. I got plenty of that. So, hey, you're welcome, Scott Allen, by the way. Oh, that's not a new post. You all have a great Father's Day, too. You too, Doug Stack, everybody else. And you know what? I'm going to call it quits because I'm going to make some breakfast for these kids. Going to get them to help finish just sprucing up the house a little bit more so it looks nice when Mom gets home. And make the bed so the bed's nice when Mom comes home. And put on my new Screaming Eagle undies that she got me for Father's Day for when Mom gets home. Now, she's going to probably want to shower and shower off 2 days of camping, 3 days of camping, and go to bed is my guess. And not in the fun way. So, everybody, thanks for being here. Remember, the show airs Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. West Coast. And, of course, very different hours across the globe. Thank you all for being here. We'll see you again tomorrow night for the Intrepid radio program. Pending any disaster or anything else, I'll be here. And I don't want people to think I'm gone all the time because I took most of the week off last week. Some of that was for tail end of feeling sick and then being out of town. So we missed 4 days, but we're going to be back in full force again tomorrow. So I want to thank you all for being here, sharing your time with me. Wasn't a lot of substance to today. Just talking, having coffee, enjoying each other's company. So thanks for being here, and I will see you again tomorrow. And remember what? Live long and prosper.